Hey everybody, so today I wanted to talk about the importance of black people not having children by white people. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't date them, whatever, date them as much as you want to, marry them, whatever, but I think it's very important, especially for black men, not to have children by white women because you're giving your child a white woman to raise them. So, especially if she has a little boy, then you're having a white woman raise a black man. So, by the time they get to an adult, they have no concept of what it means to be a black man because a white woman isn't going to raise a black man the way a black woman would, because she has a white woman has no clue as to what that black man is going to face in once he's out in the world, from even like from birth, from the time where he's goes to school, and when he has to face racism, because he's going to face racism. And I see that a lot of white women will say, well, I'm going to teach my kid that all races are the same, or that there's no racism, or to not see color, when teaching a child that is, especially a black man, that racism does not exist is detrimental to that black man, because racism is what this country runs off of. Make no mistake, we are living in a white supremacist ran society. We're living in a society that is ran by white supremacist terrorism. So when you take that young black man and you have them raised by a white woman who has a total different view of what it is to live in America. She's living in America as a white person, okay? That child, whether it has a white mother or not, is going to be living in America as a black man. No one's going to look at them and say, oh, well, that child has a white mother, so that child is white. Let's look at that child like he's half white. Let's treat him with give him different benefits because he's half white. That child's not going to get any special treatment because its mother is white. He's going to be looked at as a black man. Now then, let's look at the fact that a lot of men right now, white or black or whatever, are not raising their children. So now you have a child that is going to be a black man in America that's being raised solely by a white woman. Now, that white woman may not want to consider herself as a white supremacist, which does not exist. If you are a white person in America, you are a white supremacist, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. But she can consider herself not a white supremacist, but her having a child that is black does not make her relatives not a white supremacist. It doesn't make her father and mother not a white supremacist. It doesn't make her brother and sisters not white supremacists. So now you have a child that's born into white supremacy. You have a child that is now looked at by its relatives as less than the other family members. You have the risk of sending your child to its grandparents' house and it being called the N-word because by a relative. Because you can't make those other people not racist because you had a black kid. Any feelings of hatred towards black race is going to be put on that child because that child in their eyes is a black child. Now, so that child is going to have very low self-esteem and very low self-worth. And there's no way around that. You can try to raise that child as a white child, and you can tell that child that, the racism doesn't exist, and you can tell that child that you're raising that child to not see color, but you're raising your child to live in a fairy tale. That's not the reality of life, and that's not the reality of the world that child's going to live in. So we really need to think about who we're having our children by and who we're allowing to raise our children. I know that people don't want to be told who they can date and who they can marry, and I'm saying Date them as much as you want to, have sex with them, threesome, foursome, I don't care, because that's only affecting you. But once you have a child, now that child's going to be more damaged than the last generation of black men, because now you're taking a child who's not even going to be raised by a black woman. The point of them having a black mother and a strong black woman to raise them is way more important than them having even a black man raising them, because we need to realize the women raise the children. In 99% of these cases, women are the sole person that's raising and influencing these children. So when you give that child a white mother, all that child is seeing is white people. They're seeing their mother who's white, their aunt that's white, their grandparents that's white, and they're a lot of them will be thrown in a situation where the mother will have one mixed child, and then she will go marry a white man. So now you have this mixed child in a family where it's the only black member. That white mom will have a white husband, and then they'll have a white child. So now that child lives in a family where no one looks like it. No one. So all he sees are these white people. They even will move to a small town where there's so much racism, and they'll act like, well, my child's not going to deal with racism because it's my child. No one cares if it's your child. That child's still going to deal with racism. Now it has to deal with racism in its own family. Now the only person in its household is white. They're the only black person in their household. Like, how do you think that child's going to feel when they're adults? They're going to have very low self-esteem. They're going to have very low self-worth. They're going to have like no idea of where they come from, or why things are happening the way they are. They're going to be so confused. So in order to preserve and to preserve our race, we have to stop having children by white people. We just have to stop doing that. It's very important. We need to start saving our children, not putting our children in situations where their family members are white supremacists, because that's not good for anyone. Thank you.